Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Thursday. I missed everyone last week. It's just going to be me tonight. Dr. Nakumbi has something he has, previously scheduled, and it's just going to be me. So we're kind of flip flopping. He had something tonight. Last week I was on vacation, but it's good to be back. This is my favorite show. Obviously, just happy to be a part of it, but also too, it's my jam. It's what I love to do. Talk about mental health, the brain, the mind, all the things. So it's good to be here. So for now, before I get into everything, housekeeping. Hello, Christina. I already said hey to you, but thanks for being here. We have CBN in the back. Thank you again. Corey, you're always joining us, and I appreciate you for that. Just me tonight. So I'm gonna share a little bit of some concepts that I teach my clients, but I also utilize every single day in my life. It's changed my life, up until this point, and big CBN. And it's continuing to change my life, and I hope to share some of that today, and hopefully, you guys can get some takeaways that you can apply right now or in, the future, no matter what area of life it is. So breaking the cycle, and I was thinking as the intro was starting, breaking the cycle. And what does that even mean? How do we even do that? And we've been talking about, me and Dr. Nakumbi have been talking about a bunch of different things in terms of mental health and how to break the cycle. But something that came to mind was when we are doing the same thing and we're expecting a different result, right? That's insanity. But how do we even break the cycle? And I'm talking about bad habits, or we're trying to lose weight, or we're trying to stop doing something. Maybe it's spending too much time on our phones. How do we even do that? Well, I'm going to kind of get into that a little bit today. In the chat, please give me all your questions. I don't care what they are. I love questions, all the comments. I'm going to share a little bit, and then if anyone wants to join the panel with their questions, or they're even open to being coached a little bit, we'll do that. So just because it's me, so we'll see how it goes. But please, anyone that has questions, let me know. Put it in the chat. I'll try my best to answer them. Now, just to preface, I am just a coach. This is not clinical or mental health. I guess Dr. Nakumbi always says this is not prescription, this is description. And especially in terms of coaching, this is not clinical health. This is more so on the side of just optimizing overall wellness for those who are already high functioning, but maybe not doing things optimally. Maybe they're living in a way that they're tired of, or again, they want to break some bad habits, or it's it's already May. You have a New Year's resolution. Okay, well, what went wrong there? Things like that. Coaching really helps what you want to do now. So, with the title of the show, Mental Health Month is May, and ego versus lower brain. So, what even is the ego? And I think we've all probably learned about it at some point, whether it's in maybe health or maybe biology. I took psych in college, so of course I learned about it then. And I think even in high school, actually, now that I think about it. So I looked up in the Britannica online, and this is what it said. So, ego in psychoanalytic theory is the portion of the human personality which is experienced as self or I. as in contact with the external world through perception. So basically, how I look at it as our thoughts. And most of the time, the lower brain or slash ego, what I'm referring to today, is going to be the subconscious thoughts. Um, and let me see here. Christina says, I'm going to share something with you that helps me to cope and stay on track. I set boundaries for myself and I make lists. Helps to make me accountable on a daily basis. And I love that because what helps is that what came to mind for me reading that is that you know that that works for you. And that's amazing because oftentimes people will even they'll ask on Reddit or even just, in passing or during conversation, they'll say, I'm trying to get better at this. I'm trying to do this. So they'll just, look something up and they'll try something that, willy-nilly that has nothing to do with them or even their habits or like if they struggle with time management, that's very broad. What part of time management do you struggle with? Don't just, try this and then you're frustrated because it doesn't work. Well, that's why it's like, well, what works for you? So with Christina, if I love that she sets boundaries for herself and she makes lists. And then I would even, for some people, those lists might be digital. Those lists might be, sticky notes. Sticky notes are great. But what is it that works for you? Don't worry about what everyone else says or what you find on the internet. Now trial and error for sure. But just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But I think that's great, Christine, especially on a daily basis and being intentional like that. Cause I'm gonna touch on that. Corey says, do you know any single marriage-minded Black women over 37 years old? I'm on the younger side. I'm 28. So, but I actually do know one, but she just got divorced. So I don't know if she's looking, but I don't know. Get back to me on that, Corey. I'll keep you in mind. um, so and Christina says, which is great, that she's far from perfect, but it helps her feel in control. And that's why I'm touching on the ego today. So I know I'm not Black, but I have plenty of see, now you're putting me in a bad spot, Corey. I have plenty of Black friends. One of my best friends growing up, she still is Black. So, all right. Hey, Scam. Hey, good to see you. Okay, back on track here. So, the ego is basically the sense of self. And where the ego can get us in trouble is that our ego has evolved to keep us safe. Um, and it just is running in the background. In keeping us safe, it looks out for the negative. So, why do we always pay attention to the negative things so easily? Well, that's what it has evolved to do, to keep us safe, to expend the least amount of energy, to avoid danger. Thank you. It was great, back in the primitive times. But now we're pretty safe. For the most part, Corey, we're all safe. Very lucky with so many, technological advancements. Whatever, we don't have to. We're not hunters and gatherers anymore. But that negative wiring is still there. So when we are viewing our life, sometimes, and it seems like everything's painful and negative. And oftentimes, that's our ego telling us stories. Now, it might be kind of weird that I'm saying it as if your ego and you are separate, but it kind of is. But just stick with me. I'm not going to get too far into the neurological side of things and then even just mind, but everyone for the most part has a inner talk or narrative, and they kind of, go back and forth. At least that's how my brain works. I'll talk to myself or whatever, but I'm talking about the two different things in terms of the subconscious and conscious parts of our mind. Okay, that's our lower brain. So what has evolved, the reptilian part, oldest part, and then our prefrontal, which is the most recent, if you want to call it recent, part of our brain that has evolved. And the prefrontal is what allows us to plan. It's our executive functioning. But our lower, which is more of the basic, innate, desires for survival. But if we don't, you know, create and increase our consciousness with what's going on in our lower brain, and left to its own devices, it's going to control us. And oftentimes, that's only going to be in terms of seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. And seeking pleasure is Netflix all the time, social media all the time, staying inside, maybe not saying hi to this Corey, saying hi to this girl across the street that he thinks is cute. I don't know, because that's dangerous. It's scary. So our brain is like, yo, don't go out there. That's not going to be good. Thank you, lower brain, but we're actually safe here. We're okay. Now it's going to be novel. It's going to be new, but it's going to be worth it, right? But if we don't pay attention to what the lower brain is telling us or our ego, we miss out or we create results for ourselves that are ultimately not beneficial and not helpful. And I don't think a lot of people notice that. Um, so hopefully this is all making sense so far. Please, again, questions, comments, put it in the chat. And if anyone wants to come up on the panel, let me know. You can put in the chat also. If you want to either discuss some of these, you have pushback, or you want some coaching. That's what I love to do. So back to the ego. Okay. So let me get back here. So with the ego telling us stories, and most of them being untrue, we live our lives being unconscious of the thoughts that are part of that segment of the brain. And we don't know that. So again, we think that we need to change our life or change things because everything sucks. Everything seems, you know, just crap. So we got to go out and change whatever is going on that we believe is negative, right? But little do we know, hey, Dragonfly Jones, my favorite. Little do we know, though, that what we believe is painful about our lives, or even a situation that our ego is telling us, we actually, hang on, we don't have to change anything yet. We might still later, but let's look at how our lower brain, let's create consciousness. What about this is painful? Like questioning that piece. Did you know you could do that? And back to that perception part, which was in the definition. So the human portion of the human personality, this is the ego, which is experienced as self or I and is in contact with the external world through perception. Perception, or a way of, looking at things, is up to you, your thoughts. So basically, when we're trying to change everything else around us to feel better, that's a lot of work and it's frustrating. But I want to back up before we even try to do that. Hey, everyone in the chat. Before we do that, let's address what our thoughts actually are, what the ego is telling us that feels so true, but it's actually not. It may not be. We get to choose. So anyone has questions or has a situation or an example, let me know. Uh, so The biggest thing that I want to teach you right now is telling the difference between what is your thoughts and what is basically just neutral circumstances in the world that you can't control. Oftentimes we think that we have no control over things, but really what we think we have no control over are perceptions that we have that are totally optional. Okay, if that makes sense. So, okay, I'm reading some of these comments. Hey DL, thanks for being here. So for example, one of the reasons why I said how people want to change their external world instead of looking inward. For example, if you want to lose weight but you keep gaining it back, anyone ever do that? Um, or they swear they're going to stay off their phone or something, or they're going to go to bed at a decent time or whatever even that is, and they do it like once maybe, or back to what I said earlier, the resolutions. If you try to solve the external, which I would argue is the symptom, which me and Dr. Nakambi have talked about, that's the leaves, but we don't go to the root, which are our thoughts, you're constantly going to be in a cycle of, well, gaining that weight back or having to start over again. Scam says it's a system, it's the modern women's. Yeah, those are some of the things. So I'll give you an example though. So, and these are my favorite ones because this just clearly illustrates it to me. And this is when I really saw how powerful it is to take ownership over what you're thinking and perceiving and how that's impacting how you're acting or feeling and your results, and how that also impacts how you treat other people and actually how you think they're treating you. But really, again, that's that perception thing. So and I've shared this before, and if you've heard it, sorry, you don't have to hear it again. But when me and my husband were first dating, I had a bunch of rules for him. I didn't tell him what these rules were all the time. Bunch of guidelines that I wanted him to follow. And if he didn't follow these, I would be really upset. So, for example, texting me back within reasonable time, maybe within 10 minutes or so, probably less, but, or letting me know when he goes somewhere. So insane now that I say it. Um, or calling me at night. And if he didn't do these things, I would make it mean he doesn't care. How could he forget? I told him like this should just be, a no-brainer. I'm not even asking for much. So we have texting, we'll just say communication. My rules for communication. And if he didn't follow them, then I was going to be angry. And then I'd be angry or sad, whatever. Bitchy for the most part. And then I would treat him like crap. It would affect the rest of the night, probably the next day. I would never say sorry because I wasn't in the wrong, right? I mean, all you have to do is say, text me back or call me. And that's it. That's all you got to do. And I wouldn't be mad if you just did that. So if you want me to feel better, if you want me to not be mad, then you just have to do this. So we would be fighting all the time. He was miserable, obviously. And I was feeling mad. But I didn't think anything was wrong. This is just him not being a good boyfriend. We could say that. I didn't realize again that I had these rules. So then when I learned that I actually do have control over my thoughts and what I perceive, and that I get to choose in how choosing one or the other was going to create, a ripple effect, then I started being a little more intentional. So, what I realized, let's take the situation with the communication. Does he have to respond within 10 minutes? Why? I don't know. That was an arbitrary number that I thought was necessary. I don't even know when I came up with that belief or that guideline. A lot of women and just young people in general have this guideline. It's actually really interesting. But okay, him texting me or whatever within a certain amount of time, optional and is neutral. Corey says women and their emotions. That's a fact. But hey, that's why this work is so important. And this is so easy. Well, it's easy in terms of you can apply it right now. I'll save this question, CBN. So, okay, he didn't respond, whatever. Why is that a rule? Who even established that rule? Or if he didn't, call me when he gets home, that means he got in a car accident. Hmm. He got in a car accident. It's possible, but you know what else is possible? He got home and, if he was living with a roommate or whatever, had to, converse with a roommate, probably hopped in the shower, threw his phone on his bed. I don't know. But there's so many different alternatives that I can choose to believe that he didn't for why he didn't text me, and also not go into, flight or fight, which is not very good for your body, by the way. But they're all optional. Why do we want to go into the most extreme situation when there's alternatives? Well, remember the ego. If we're not checking the ego, it's gonna keep telling us a lot of untrue stories, and it's gonna be running us versus us running it. Um, so then I was like, wow, the way me being mad at him doesn't even have to be a thing. Of course, people can have standards, they can have, wishes or requests, that's fine. But if someone doesn't follow that, request or whatever it is, or things happen, you still get to decide what you think about it and how you perceive it and if it's going to serve you or not. Because I will tell you, when I started questioning all of my thoughts by raising that awareness, I was like, wow, I really don't have to think about it this way. I don't have to treat him this way. And I started suffering a lot less and being a lot less bitchy. Um, yeah, beautifully animated says I would go into the negative. He's hurt for some reason. Worry, worry, worry. I don't like to worry. I'm good now, but that was something I had to work on too. For sure, it does take awareness. If you play, I love to use this analogy. If you play sports and you're not getting the results you want, I played softball, so if I'm striking out or if I'm overthrowing or something like that, I'm not hitting. If I'm throwing it to, I played outfield, so if I'm throwing it to the shortstop or second base and I keep overthrowing it, I'm not gonna just try all these different things, see what works, kind of like what we were talking about with Christina. I'm gonna take a look at what I'm currently doing. What am I currently doing that's creating this result? So, okay, if I'm overthrowing it, I can tell that I'm letting go of it too late or something as simple as that. Now I know what I can try to mitigate what I'm doing or even just correct it. When we try to solve or I guess, correct results by treating the symptoms, it's not going to be effective. So let's go to the root of the problem. And as a coach, what I teach my clients, you got to look at your thoughts or your ego. Okay? Awareness is the first part. And how you choose to look at things is going to affect how you feel about it and what you do or don't do. And those are going to be your outcomes and your results. Okay. Um, Here's another question from CBN. I'm going to copy this. He says, why self-reflection almost comes off as something negative for people who fear to face the truth. That is a great question. I'm going to answer that now. So self-reflection, or some people call it introspection. I like to just, you could call it mindfulness, or I call it like thought work, or just kind of journaling or whatever. You're just really dumping out your thoughts, or, looking at things, taking some inventory. Some people think that's negative, and for people who fear to face the truth, well, sometimes it's uncomfortable to it's again, it's that perception. It's uncomfortable for what we think we're going to find there. So, if let's say there's something that we've always wanted to do, like a goal you have in mind. You always want to do public speaking, or you've always wanted to ask someone out. Again, Corey, thinking of you. And you just know that you don't want to do it, or you're kind of nervous about it. And then thinking about, let's question that. Some people might not want to question that. They're like, "Oh, no, I'm good." It's just not something I'm gonna do. But why? There's something you're feeling, a tug of discomfort for why you don't wanna go there. I would venture to guess that it's a story you have that you're gonna find whatever reason. For example, going to do something like the fear of rejection. So with, asking someone out. Well, when we take a look in that reflect or taking some self-reflection, or taking a look at that fear, we in that rejection, that, the possibility of rejection, we have to face it that, well, first it's possible, okay? And we think that we're gonna feel usually like terrible, but oftentimes it's just what we think we're gonna feel usually is 10 times worse than what it's actually gonna be. I swear, when I was in Florida last week, I mean, this is more physical, but when I was in Florida, the ocean was really cold, and I just thought about how rough it was gonna be to go in the ocean because so freaking cold, and I just didn't wanna do it. I don't even the thoughts were just they weren't very clear. But I just knew it wasn't gonna be good, like, it was not going to feel I knew it wasn't gonna be a good time, that's all I could say. But I'm like, "Let's do it." I ended up, like, just stopping a baby, and I just went in, I just went in there versus usually I just, like, I was in Destin scam. Usually I'll just, like, either wait to be splashed, or sometimes a wave will come and hit you, and then you have no choice. But I just went in, and I realized, "Wow, this wasn't even as bad as I was telling myself it was gonna be." So sometimes we don't wanna do self-reflection because there's something there, possibly, that we're gonna be uncomfortable about, or that we have felt uncomfortable when we've maybe looked before. And again, that brain wants to keep us safe. That's dangerous. Doesn't feel good. We want that pleasure, so let's not do the self-reflection. But if you wanna figure out what's going on, you have to do that self-reflection because you need that awareness. You can't make corrections or sometimes just squash whatever stories you have when you do the self-reflection. "Ah, I see why that happened," or, "Ah, maybe I don't wanna look at it that way," for example. Hopefully that helps. Dragonfly Joe says, "So you felt like you wasn't good enough to get in the water." Yes, for sure, and I stand by that. More so like, I I have this thought that I hate cold stuff. I hate it. So I was like, "I'm a baby. I just can't do it, so I'm just gonna wait." But then, I'll tell you just candidly, I was like, "I need a mantra. I need a thought that I need to keep practicing. Otherwise, my lower brain was gonna come in and tell me all the reasons why that was not a good idea, and I needed to just not get in the water." Guys, it was so cold, but it's May, so, and I'm kind of a baby. So my mantra was I looked up, some of David Goggins' great quotes, and it said, "The best way to grow as a person is to do something every day that you hate." Something like that. I mean, I remember it because I just was walking in, not letting the lower brain take over my mind. I was running it. So I said, "Best way to grow as a person is to do something every day that you hate. Best way to grow as a best way to grow as a person is to do something every day that you hate." And I just went in, and it was cold for, like, a second for sure, but then it was fine, like, it was fine. Clear illustration. Um, let me find out you felt some type of way to reject the water before you yeah, I was rejecting that water hard. I was like, "No." But then my freaking niece is just going in there like, "No problem." So, that's a perfect example of me using my prefrontal, using my awareness and my consciousness and being intentional and choosing the thoughts I was gonna think and overriding what my ego or my lower brain was telling me, which is, "This water is too freaking cold. You might as well just stay, on the beach and tan." Finished, like, 3 books. It was great, but still. Um, Being self-aware gives a person great value. That is the truth, and that me and CBN were talking about this before. Um, and again, anyone has questions, put them in the chat. If anyone wants to join the panel and talk, let me know. Um, CBN, if you want to drop the link, you can. That's totally fine. By the way, but me and CBN were talking about how people talk about how important mental health is, and it truly is. And I'm going to talk about mental health, not so much mental illness. Um, there's a difference. Me and Dr. Nakumbi have, well, at least we've talked about that. Um, and hey, and the self-awareness piece is crucial because the ways that we're behaving is not going to change, or maybe we want to change it or we don't, but we won't know unless we're self-aware of what we're doing. And all these relationship conversations are so important, and I love them. I love relationships. But the relationship you have with yourself, your ego, and the perceptions you have are going to directly impact your relationships. And that's why I encourage everyone to take what I'm saying and please utilize it, because that is where you are in control all the time, whether you decide to take the reins or not. They're your reins to take, but if you want to drive, that's up to you. I encourage you to. But you are in control of what you think about how you perceive things and how you feel based on perception and how you act. And that's going to dictate your results. And that's the most empowering thing to recognize and to adopt, but also life becomes so much more peaceful when you can question your perceptions, when you believe, "Oh, my boyfriend didn't text me back because he doesn't like me or he's cheating or whatever." Maybe not. Okay? We have options, and it might be hard to question those options when we're so used to believing, no, he's dirty, he's a cheater. Those feel so familiar, and the lower brain's going to offer them to you. But if you question them, after we have to be aware of them, self-awareness, if you question them, you might it might be interesting to see what your answers are. But it's going to create a lot more peace and less needless suffering if you question them with everything. But it's a really good illustration with relationships. I'll pause for a second. Hey, CBN, what you got?
Hey, how you doing? Like you were said earlier, we had a conversation in the back before the show started, and I was saying how serious mental health is concerning the black community because many don't want to talk about it because for one, looking at the black community as a whole, we're divided in multiple sections. We had the African American, we had the African from the African diaspora, we had the Afro Caribbean, the Afro Latina. When it comes to dealing with mental health, they never want to be addressed as such because it's
Mm-hmm.
considered to be a massive taboo among the African Caribbean, either it's something spiritual or something demonic. Among African American, they might think that the guy is sprung on drug or just something that just happened, they brush it off, but they don't realize present time it has become more of a big effective issue that it's destroying the black community more than normal because I live in a community that about within 50-mile radius, 4 to 5 hospitals. And it's
Yeah.
becoming a known factor that which the news have been trying to cover in the government, that a lot of people who are not medically cleared to be on the street and they got serious mental illness, it's because the
Mm-hmm.
hospital cannot harbor them. They put them out on the street was
Mm-hmm.
created to now that happened a few weeks ago of a person who got choked on the subway
Right.
system. And this
Right.
is
And that's a huge
something
issue.
that I had a weird, I can't say obsession, I have a real concern that when we come to mental health,
Mm-hmm.
it should have been a victim now for a good almost a month and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of eyeball here with questions that can give them a heads up or a tool that people can utilize to say, you know what, it do make sense. I can understand where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see a multiple panel to talk about mental health this, mental health that, but no one on the panel is certified in that field to talk about these things, so they can address
Right.
it. When I
Right.
ask the question of self-reflection, one
Yes.
critical tool that I learned from my uncle who taught me these things, I realized something about it that people don't want to practice. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the second question I asked is, does self-reflection uncover hidden
Mm.
trauma that they're trying to remain buried. Like
Yes.
I know that what
Yes.
people are doing right now, they trying to how you want to put it. They compartmentalize themselves. They take that particular trauma, put it in a box, and put it aside.
Right.
Or
They try to stuff it down.
whatever phrase that might trigger it, they're trying to hide it. So you may not know
Right.
what the trigger is. You just say a simple phrase, but you don't mean nothing to what the person will be affected by it.
Right.
All of a sudden they get triggered. Why you say that? So you tell you and you wondering like where this coming from, based on the
Right.
person reacting, either male or female, but not
Mm-hmm.
realize the phrase you just mentioned with a keyword to a particular trigger key that almost unearth, almost uncover a trauma that they went through in the past that have nothing
Right.
to do with you. So I'm
And
wondering,
one, yeah. Well, one reason why they might not want to look at that, and this is just one of the many different reasons, is that that happened. Like, let's say there was a, traumatic experience
mhm.
that they don't want to look at it because it's something like wrong with them, maybe. Um, hey, Jay Speed. He's so funny. He says, "I'm trying to clear talking to your business not over here for support." No,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's a
You're
very
so
good.
funny. It's good
He's a
to see
very
you. You're always
respectable
so great
elder right there. Jay
and
Speed, he
very
respectable.
knowledgeable, especially just holistically. The times that I've heard him speak on things, especially when it comes to big pharma and things like that, that's all I'll say. Very helpful and so important. And also talking about things that go to the root of the problem to avoid different symptoms and things like that down the road. Versus, but again, some people, they just want that quick fix because again, the brain, the body doesn't want that danger. It wants to feel pleasure, but usually that's at our own expense. But back to the mental health and the trauma, some people might not want to look at that because, first of all, it's trauma. It was not good, and that so the fear and all the, uh, I guess, emotions that are attached to that is going to come up for sure. But also too, whatever their perceptions are and what they've meant, what they've made that mean about them, it depends what it is. I mean, it doesn't depend necessarily because obviously trauma is trauma, but they think it's better to act as if it's not there. And I can empathize with that, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't make it go away. And it also is only going to come out. Also, too, I wanted to ask in the chat, for those who are watching live, let me know why you're here. Of course, I'm so grateful that you're here. But what brings you to listen to me and Dr. Nakumbi on Thursdays? Because going back to what me and Black David were talking about before the show started was people talk about mental health, mental illness, how these things are so important, but people don't show up, you know? Um, and of course, for most, that's freaking Scam. He says a troll. I haven't seen you in a minute, Scam. So you must have been, well, I know you have salsa, but he's at least been trying to keep it serious over here because he knows that we mean business. But if mental health is so important, and especially in terms of relationships and women, needing therapy, we have Dr. Nakumbi, who is a clinically trained,
And
educated,
licensed.
yes, licensed, all of the credentials anyone could possibly dream of. And he's, of course, just freaking amazing. I am so inspired and just cannot get over all, I just am so grateful to be able to learn from him and to share the stage with him. Although I'm like, hey, I'm learning from you. So you take over this. But if mental health is so important in all these things, then where are people? And Scam just
Good
said they don't want
question.
solutions. They don't.
But
Because
my
guess
follow up
what? Go ahead.
my follow up question when I was trying to ask you before was something about the
Mhm.
word trauma because I hear it a lot. But
Mhm.
is it possible trauma can be transmitted through genetic?
Um, that would be a question for Dr. Nakumbi. I
Okay.
would say maybe there might, and I would have to look at the research. There might be some predispositions, but what I love and am so fascinated about with the brain is if, let's say, people, and again, I don't know for certain, but if,
It's understandable because it's why I
go
come
ahead.
to your show and I'm very diligent about it because when it comes to mental health, there's so much I need to learn and understand on a deeper level and deeper stuff because as an African from the
Mm-hmm.
diaspora from Nigeria,
Yeah,
people don't treat mental health as mental health. But
right,
it's better to have skill set from both ends, either from a spiritual
right.
aspect and a medical aspect as well,
For
for
sure, for
clarity.
sure.
So this is why
Well,
I'm concerned when I watch the viewers and later on other
mhm,
shows that
yeah,
want to talk about mental health. I get irritated with watching them like this is not your turf. Just don't talk about it much.
right,
So
for
I'm
sure.
concerned about that. That's why I'm asking you guys these questions, you and Dr. McCumbin, because if they're
Yeah,
not ready, I want to get information that will make me be aware. So when I see certain warning signs,
mhm.
I can understand this may be related to X, Y, and Z. And from there, I can ask questions so it can help me. Those are why I come. This is why I come to the show for to get clarity and understanding. I'm here to educate myself more to get better understanding. So your show is very important. Sorry about that. I'm just
Yeah, no, you're good, and I'm totally with you. Sometimes and I with this work, I'm able to be so patient and like, I I'm just passionate about this, but it's because I believe in just humans in general anyway. If you have a brain, you're good. Like the brain is the best technological piece anyone has. Oh, Jay Sweet, thank you. He says, Coach K, your soft voice resonates and makes it easier to digest the information you'll give for solutions, and your patience is off the scale. Thank you, Jay Speed. I try, and I miss seeing you on this space. And your humor, you're such a delight. And those little tips you gave me when I was on Scams show. T. Shaw says a lot of people are in denial about their own mental health. Well, and this is an example that I like to use, and let's see if I can find it. But it's as if it's easier to um, keep the lights off, for example. So I have this example. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So tell me if this makes sense to everyone in the chat. So when we want to look at our mental health or look at an issue or reflect or create awareness, it feels very uncomfortable. We don't want to do it. Um, what is this? Sorry, someone just like came up on my chat or on my screen. So, and the reason why is because again, the brain does not want anything other than pleasure. It wants us to avoid pain and expend minimal effort. But we don't need that now. We're safe. So it's like, no, don't look at your thoughts, don't look at what's going on, whatever it is. And it's kind of like a house with the lights off. So in the with the house and the lights being off, it's like our brain that we aren't paying attention to. So we go inside, self-reflect, go inside and turn the lights on and look at our thoughts or whatever it is. And when we turn the lights on and looking in there, sometimes it doesn't provide relief right away. And that's the same as when we do this self-reflection and this awareness. And it can be overwhelming and scary, again, painful, possibly. So the brain is going to say, yo, turn the lights back off. Don't do that. Don't look at your mental health. Don't look at why you feel the way that you feel. Don't look at why you're behaving the way that you're behaving. Don't look at why you're doing this. And actually, it's not other people's fault, to be honest. Don't do that. Turn the lights back off. But we have to make sure that we're not tempted to stay unconscious. And we do turn the lights on and take a look, because when we turn the lights on, then we can see what mess we have to clean up, what we might want to rearrange a little bit, what we might want to be maybe more efficient at. Does that make sense? Is that a good like analogy, I guess?
I think it is because listen to all the past shows I've been helping produce and listen and paying close attention to every small details. I start to understand there's a thing within the human mind, like certain trauma that people want to hide as
Mhm.
much as possible or mask,
Mhm.
but never got in no therapy or no treatment concerning that.
Yeah.
It's like it's like someone carrying a time bomb when I realize they're carrying it. They
Mhm.
think it's not much of a big deal, but when something triggers it, it happens.
It's like having a injury to your body, and sometimes the body will heal itself, but it's not gonna heal itself, like, really good. Have you ever seen, like, someone break a bone? And, like, I remember working with this guy, and sadly, he didn't have health insurance, and he, like, I don't know, he broke his arm, but he had, like, a big lump on his arm because it healed like that.
Ooh.
But it's still there. It's not functioning as great as it could be. That's kinda how I look at, like, trauma, like,
I can relate. I
either
broke my left
you know what
arm
I
when I was a
mean?
little kid. I can relate. I
Oh,
broke my
yeah.
left arm when I was a little kid out of the swing. And they put me on a cast, and that lasted for almost like 9 months. And it was irritating.
Yeah.
But what the doctor told me, it's going to heal, but it's not going to feel the same like it was before. Which
Right.
was weird because when I did the X-ray after the heat, it was looking kind of weird. It's like the place where they got here looked a little bit more thicker than before, but I felt off for a good couple of years. So when I started to work
Mhm.
out, I tried to remove that feeling of me being off of it. But even though that's more than 30 years ago, sometimes I look at my left arm and think about it. This is not the thing about my book a couple years back,
Yeah.
and not trying to be triggered by it, but sometimes it makes me look at my arm weird, like
Mhm.
why it doesn't feel like it's the same, even though it's a very small trauma.
Right,
I
and
remember
that
when I
is
broke my
trauma,
arm, I
to
was in
the body,
shock
yeah.
before I felt the pain, and I was trying to put it
Yes.
back myself. So imagine
Oh
a young
god, no,
kid,
no.
you like, I
Mhm.
would think, well, what I was like, what, 9, 10, broke my
Ugh.
arm going to swing, which I shouldn't have done. The moment I broke my arm, tell me think about the pain, I'm thinking about my mom or dad would have whooped my ass.
Yeah,
And I try to
yeah.
fix my own arm. So me being
Right,
shocked,
that's such a guy thing, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, real quick, Reckless Ray, hey, thank you for stopping by. I know you have a show on the same time, but I so appreciate you being here. Just to stop in and say hello. Thanks so much. Everyone check out Reckless Ray. Something that I just thought of too with Corey's comment was brain only wants pleasure. That's why I'm still single. Peace is priceless. And he's he's funny. What I think is interesting though is I would question, Corey, that perception or that thought or whatever. Now, I can kind of like I get it, trust me. But although right now everything's, peaceful and this is fine. You can obviously do whatever you want to do, but I'm just offering. But what are you missing out on? Yes, you might be missing out on a lot of headache, a lot of drama, but that's possible. But you know what else you're missing out on? Is the possible connection and love and just maybe a great relationship that's out there too. I always, talk about the 50-50 contrast. We need both. We need that negative to have that positive, right? And it might seem safer over here, but but it also depends on what you want. You don't have to get in a relationship or whatever it is. But, it might seem safe, but either way, are you missing out? You could be missing out on this side of things, a great relationship, playing it safe. So, which one do you want, Um, J Speed says, "I think it would be delightful if you did a simulation coaching a person where your face would be seen, only see the back of the head of a person." Yeah, that would, and sometimes I do think about even my own coaching calls. I'd obviously have to make sure well, I wouldn't have them on there, because I do Zoom with my clients, but I would love to, I'll have to consider that, and that's why I want someone to join the panel if they want coaching because it's incredibly powerful. We'd have to be very, like,
careful.
structured, but, I would love to, like, if there's anything that, like, you're feeling upset about or something that you wanna change or, something that, I don't know, isn't right or something you wanna do better at, you don't know why, or maybe you're feeling a certain way and you don't know what's going on, join the panel, and I'll coach you if you want. Obviously, I want to have your permission because I also don't believe in coaching people unsolicited, but and I see a lot of that on, YouTube. Now, I think there's a difference. Sometimes it's just the way my brain ticks. I'll ask questions because I'm curious and I also want to help people. But if I'm actually going to coach someone, I want to make sure that they're okay with it and that they're going to, they've given me permission, whatever that looks like, because otherwise, I know Corey's joking so much, but he says, I'm waiting for the perfect black woman who can appreciate all this Swiss, but I cannot.
Most kid,
Perfect
hold on.
is,
Let me deal with this.
yeah,
Chloe, the
you go
person
deal with
can
that.
hook you up. Her name is Security Boss. She can pull her resources and look for one that will match your need. A big brother, you really give her the pressure because she's the young lady, and she feeling like, who could I find older than me that's single in my area? I don't know.
I just love what Security Bot, all the work that she does. I mean, her message
And this,
is just
she
so
she's another
good.
great elder that I see that she put in the work day in and day out and trying to be consistent. Which I fully honor and respect
Yes.
that. This is why I'm gonna tell you like this. For all you people watching the channel, please every Thursday, I don't care what platform you're a fan of, let them know. Come here at
Yeah,
7
share it.
p.m. Central, 8 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern time.
Yes.
To have her here, Coach K and Dr. McCundy, come here every Thursday and share insight, experience, even though they move some of the information out, get you understand the scenario concerning mental health, because it is something that I believe is beyond highly important within our black community, not just black, but everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, especially, but yeah, of course, especially the Black community, and there are a lot of different, well, and because too, um, because he says course now on the positive of anger. Um, the thing is with mental health and these conversations being so important is they are rooted in every conversation, every topic that's on in this space, from the relationships, from, the single parent homes or whatever it is, all the decisions that people are making. If you want change, especially I'm talking on the individual level because that's all I work with. And that's all we can control is ourselves, right? The self. Um, but if you want to change, well, where do you start? Like, even thinking about, there's dietitians and health coaches and personal trainers or whatever, but this is why I love what I do, because if you even want to start eating better, um, how are you going to control your urges? How are you going to control yourself? Well, how are you going to have self control? How are you going to have discipline? This starts up here. That's your mental, your emotional side.
It's
And
funny
if
that
you
you
don't know
said
how to do
that.
that,
It's funny
go
that
ahead.
it's funny that you said that because when you keep making that thing, you have a lot of point. It's funny that you said that because whoever watched the show, The Biggest Loser, did a female physical trainer have always constantly been saying the same thing you be saying for years. The
Yeah.
first stage in losing weight is to deal with the mind.
Yep. And that's even with, with my young clients, from, let's say they want to get better grades or something. I'm not going to give them study tips. I'm not going to give them different organization or anything like that. We got to look at what's going on. Real quick, JSP said he's taking a course on positivity of anger. That sounds fascinating. Can you share anything more, or maybe like what the course is, or whose
Um,
course it is, or
El-
things like that?
Elder JP, please come on the panel. That I'm just going to say. We would like your wisdom on
That
it.
sounds so interesting. Well, and what's interesting too is, I would argue, some people say that, for example, love is an action. And I think it's shown through actions, but I think it's an emotion, because loving someone looks like so many different things. If you're a parent of a child and you love them, it doesn't always look like hugs and kisses or, nice things. And you may not look like you're friendly and whatever, but because you love them, you have to discipline them or something like that, or take away their phone, right? So it's like things like that. So there's like different sides of things all the time. So I just think that's fascinating. So being the positivity of anger, again, I don't know what the course is about, but I'm just imagining, yeah, it's part of protection and it's necessary. Why do we not want to feel angry sometimes, Or especially with the circumstances that we can't control, we do want to feel mad, or as extreme as physical protection. um I mean, obviously there's so many different scenarios, but it's necessary, and that's what's that contrast. Corey says losing weight is eat a keto lifestyle and 6,000 meters on a run. That's good work. And keto, I do enjoy keto. But something too, it's like that sounds like it's a habit for you, like in the best way. It's a system. It's part of your identity. Oh, he started this idea for the core. Oh, share more about it, or tell us more. JSP, if you can't join, or obviously whatever your availability is right now. But I'm fascinated. There's just so much information out there. But again, like these are all things that you already have the toolkit now. And with the mental health side of it, which this all is, you can prevent a lot of suffering and possibly mental illness, kind of like risk, mitigation with personal training or like with physical health. If you get, okay, I gotcha. Oh, okay. Okay. JCP. Yeah, we all got to talk anyway. But with physical health, if you start getting into the habit of, some type of regimen, it doesn't have to be real severe, but eating, balance, whatever the diet is, whatever the exercise is, definitely exercise. Then you don't have to see. One time a dentist told me this: spend more time at home and you'll spend less time in the office. Spend more time in your, yeah, because we were talking about, if you spend more time brushing your teeth, because I had no cavities. If you spend more time brushing your teeth, taking care of yourself, you're going to spend less time when she has to clean your teeth and she's like, scraping them and all that. Spend more time, doing the things that you may not see instant rewards right away, but they also mitigate issues down the road. Does that make sense, CBN, Black David?
That is very logical. The way you just said it, you spend more time at home, spend less time in the office. I just think about it. I got
Mhm.
a job that allowed me to work from home for 2 years
Yeah.
to the point where I don't feel comfortable going back to the office. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's weird for me. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy at an IT firm.
Mhm.
I like to fix stuff. I don't mind taking things apart, fix it, put it back together,
Mhm.
and make it work. But to be home for like
Hey.
2 years and all of a sudden I don't feel comfortable going back. Kind of like
Yeah.
I I tried to go within my head and try to understand why I don't feel comfortable going back to the office. What's stopping me from
Well,
going back? So as you say, self reflection, I go to the deeper level of it.
why do you think that is?
I think
Well,
from
you're comfortable right now too. That is
I,
one piece of
and,
it,
I, and I
you
believe it
know.
comes from past experience. Working for big mega corporation whereby I used to be a workhorse. I worked myself to the ground. I'll be that one guy you see pulling out a 200-pound silver out of the rack. Even though other people won't want to hurt themselves, I do it anyway. Like, okay, no big deal. I'll pull in
Mhm.
a 2 or 3 pallet with a machine, sign off the paperwork, unravel it, put everything where it need to be, scan them down, make a spreadsheet, send it to the manager, make sure everything is heavily documented. I do all the dirty work and the technical work at times. But I start to wonder, is it me or is it just that I feel like I want to be abused? Like I start to question myself. Some people tell me working too hard, sometimes you're allowing the employer to take advantage. I think, no, I'm trying to take advantage of them. I turn my job to like a workout facility. But after
Yeah.
having been there for a while, I started asking myself, do I want to go back to that same environment again? So it's kind of like
Well,
a
what's your
conflict in the mind.
answer?
My answer is
You
more like,
'Cause indecision feels safe too. It feels like, "Well, I'm not sure because I don't wanna find out," kinda like courting and dating.
no, it doesn't
Then you
feel
don't
safe
find
when
out.
I'm if I have indecision, I don't feel safe because I feel like I'm stuck in a crossroad. I need to
So
find an
make a
answer.
decision.
But when I did thought about it, it opened my mind to something else. There were
Mm,
goals and dreams that I want to accomplish, but I couldn't accomplish because when I was over there, I was totally focused on multiple tasks that were thrown at me. I'm about to finish one, they throw 4 more. By the time I finish 4 more, they throw 8 more. It got to a routine that the moment I come to work, I'm on auto mode. I
Right.
don't think about whatever I want to work on,
Right.
or whatever dream I have, or whatever thought I want to work on. Because since I've been working from home, I thought to realize I had a lot of stuff bottled up for nothing. Never get a chance to just actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a conflict if I want to go back or continue what I'm doing here, but at the same time, spend more time trying to figure out how I want to invest in the idea that I thought it will die out because one, I'm always a big thinker. I want to
Yeah.
try things different from what I normally do, but I can't do it if I'm in the environment whereby I'm always on auto mode.
Well, and I would even question that. Hang on for just 1 second, and I want to get to beautifully animated. Jay Speed says that with plaque, and I love it. I love when he brings up these like little like tips and these bits of information. He says if you take vitamin C and lemon juice, you can get rid of plaque on your teeth. So what does that look like? I do take vitamin C and I do, but like what's the application? I do put lemon juice in my water, but tell us because I'll do whatever, I love I love that. But
Mm.
Black David, I think that's interesting, but let's get to beautifully animated too. How are you?
Girl,
What you thinking about this show?
man, why you gotta mention the damn plaque on people's teeth? Like, ugh,
Oh,
like,
you don't like that? Oh
oh,
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
is so
yeah. Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah, periodontal or whatever it is. The yeah.
I got
Teeth.
like a
Like,
toothbrush.
it's like the dentist was knocking off cement. It was just so nasty.
Oh yeah, and that hurts too, and it's like it's uncomfortable in our minds. Oh, crush vitamin C tablets and make a paste with lemon juice. Oh,
Oh,
interesting. Do we leave it on for like a certain amount of time or whatever? Fascinating. Um, Shoot,
yeah.
I'll just swallow that because I'm trying to get my vitamin C and I like lemon juice. I mean, that'll be a little tart or tangy, but whatever. But it's like, yeah, it might feel really uncomfortable in our mind. Remember the ocean, the water was cold in my mind. It's always worse than we think it is. So spending a little extra time brushing our teeth sounds like such a pain, but it's
No,
a lot better than getting your teeth. And I'll save the description. Oh, you brush as you would regular. Thanks, JSB. That's fat. Oh, that's amazing. But
um,
you would save time. It's that discomfort here. You're gonna feel uncomfortable either way. So you might as well decide
yeah.
intentionally.
Um, but no, I've been good and stuff like that. I've still been dealing with some aggravation and stuff like that, and
What?
oh,
I like
like
your cat ears, by the way. Is that your headset or is that like cat
no,
ears?
it's a hey
I
man,
need. I love those. I love those.
I forgot where I got this one from.
I know. I need to get some
Um,
more, but
the hell, nah, dragon, you tripping?
dude,
I'm not gonna
wasn't.
highlight.
I
I'm
wasn't
not
even gonna
gonna
read this.
highlight that. I am not gonna highlight.
Oh, he just put two together. He just been playing,
Oh
man.
my
So
goodness!
thank you.
Oh my goodness!
I'm not even dealing with that.
I am
Oh,
not
Uh,
highlighting
J
that.
Speed, any tips on whitening? Let us know. I mean, well, for me,
I
let me
used to
know.
hear like what was it
Or
baking
hydrogen.
soda
Yeah, baking soda,
and
hydrogen peroxide.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that. You just have
Um,
book of knowledge. I love it. But anyway, go on.
but yeah, I've been dealing with negative energy and stuff like that, and it's really annoying because at some point, if I'm like really aggravated, I can
Mm-hmm.
feel like the nerves in my shoulder and my uh
Ooh.
elbow. I'm like,
Are
I'm trying to figure that shit out. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's causing it, and like I googled it and nothing came up. I don't
when
know.
you're feeling that, how do you deal with it? Like not
I mean,
nothing changing, but like how do you allow the emotion? Like I want you to befriend it almost, but tell me what you do.
I when's my elbow?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm popping my arm and stuff like that. And if it's really bad, I just want to punch something. Really.
Yeah, so you're not you're not dealing with it. So and I'm sure like and people do have that where it shows like however whether that's the tense whether
It's
it's like
like someone just
tensing.
like
Yeah, and it's like that's maybe happening even when you don't know. So then it's like starting to affect you,
Yeah.
physically, internally, and even like just stress. I mean, man, the stats and just all the information on how bad stress is it's overwhelming. But and hey, Lady Novella, it's good to see you. You're my favorite. Well, gosh, I have so many favorites over here. I love everyone. It's just so much love. But I would say, like, even aside from the aggravation, like, even before solving that, like, I would wonder how you're even managing again when you are feeling that
I mean,
and letting it be there.
it just
Like,
sits there.
what's the worst? Yeah.
The worst, I don't know. It's just, it's just when it's really bad, it'll last like forever, which makes me even more aggravated because it's a
Right.
very annoying feeling.
And what's interesting is the more like we push against it, it's not gonna go away. And it's dragonfly, but it's not gonna go away, and it's also just gonna make things worse, which then of course we're gonna be even more aggravated.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, again, making it like your best friend right now? Like, let's say aggravation or feeling aggravated is something like, I'm sure your daughter is like aggravated you or whatever, but you can't get rid of her, right? So what
Right.
if you made aggravation like your friend?
Hmm. I mean, I'll try it.
Well, and what, like, when you're feeling aggravated, aside from like the physical part, where do you feel the vibration or like the emotion in your body? Like, some people might feel it in their head, they might feel it in their chest. It's like red. Like, where do you feel it when you're aggravated?
Well, I do get chest pains, but I also have
Hmm.
anxiety and asthma.
Mhm.
Like today, I was having chest pains, but it was hard for me to figure out, like, is this the
Right.
anxiety or is it the asthma? Because they both feel the same. It's just in a different
Right.
order.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anxiety, you have chest pains that can lead to breathing problems, and with asthma,
Mhm.
it's breathing problems that can lead to chest pain.
And then you're probably gonna feel really freaking anxious about that. It's not, I mean, it's not comfortable, I'm sure.
Right.
Um, but when you feel it, one of the coaches, she suggests almost like, because some people do feel an emotion, like even like the anxiety,
Yeah.
they like have it like chronically, pretty much. And it's like,
Oh,
well,
that's
kind of
another
like,
thing.
yeah, go ahead.
Um, like I stretch my arm. Like if I'm really aggravated or angry about something, like I could just like stretch and like it's popping, 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 everything. My chest will
What,
pop,
I wonder
my
if it's like,
joints will pop.
it's 'cause have you heard of, like, when, you have that tension and if you don't, like, work it out, it's gonna get stuck there pretty much? Like, have you
Oh,
heard of that? Like,
mm-mm.
so if people, I don't know, everyone feels differently about chiropractors, but even just, like, that stress, like, when people have knots and stuff like that, it's like getting that even just a massage, I'm sure too, but getting that moved out.
I got you,
Otherwise,
Dragon.
it's he's so crazy. But having that still, like, knotted up in there,
Yeah.
like, it needs somewhere to go, you know? But think about too with your, whether it's the anxiety or when you're feeling aggravated, like, as if, do you carry a purse, or is there some people have, like, a wristlet, or what do you carry with you all the time? Or
Um.
what's with you all the time, even if you're at home?
Well, I was not thinking, oh, my knives.
No, what the frick? I mean,
But
I hate to
God,
say that she wearing cat ear. She might be being a cat woman, carrying all her
I
accessories. You
know.
don't see it coming. Next, you know, you just see.
I have cat ears, but we like
I
dogs
know.
over here.
Yeah,
Um,
I
but
like cats. I like cats.
I always have my tablet or my phone with me.
Okay.
Um, let's
Okay.
see.
Well, even your phone's fine. It's almost like like when you're feeling that aggravation or like the anxiety is maybe worse than other days, like
Yeah.
it's almost like carrying another phone with you or another tablet with you. Like it's just a little bit heavier today. Like it's coming with you. Like this is what we got today. I'm gonna have
Oh,
this other
okay.
thing that I'm carrying. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like a way of continuing with the daily things you have going on, but letting it be there so you're not pushing it away, you know? But
Oh, okay.
does that make
Okay.
sense? Like,
Yeah.
especially the
So
days
it
that it's
makes
like
it easier
worse.
to carry instead of like getting aggravated by it.
Some
Like,
people like, yeah,
yeah.
like on top of already feeling like aggravated, like so, like you could
Yeah.
compare it to like a heavy purse, or like with my teen clients, I'll say like a backpack or something. Like this is what you're carrying today. Now, of course, we might talk about later on like why it's there in the first place, but again, some people just have that. They're more predisposed to like anxiety. So how could, like Christina said it earlier, how can we set our, if this is what we got, all right, this is what I'm working with, how can I set myself up for success and to feel the best that I can, because this anxiety ain't going anywhere, at
Yeah.
least not today. So it's like, instead of like pushing that away, or fighting against what's going on and then also feeling worse, it's like, well, let's this is just what we got working, this is what we got today.
Mhm.
But
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if
Because
that
I was
makes
talking
sense,
to
but
somebody and
go ahead.
they had no knowledge. Like you had more knowledge than them, but the only thing they could think of was a neurologist, whatever. I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think you could test my nerves for it. Like,
I mean, well, God, I mean, well, of course, there could be. I don't know. I don't want to say, because there could be a time and place too. Like if you have like some like pinched nerves too, or whatever it is going on back there.
yeah.
Um, and here comes Jay
Oh,
Speed
so it's like
says, it,
do it just
"Go
to
ahead."
rule it out. Like do the
Yeah,
neurologist test
if you need
just to
to,
rule something out.
if you're really concerned about it. But I would say even this from the get-go is going to help like mitigating whatever it is, and also help you feel better. But he says
Yeah.
inflammation in the breathing system, if you remove the mucus, you have to heal the compromised cells that are making the tubes collapse. That's interesting. Mucus is a little, I mean, the body's fascinating, but it can. What's the best way to remove
Stop
this
drinking milk.
inflammation in the do you drink milk?
Yeah, I drink milk or I eat ice cream. Like,
Oh, okay.
you can completely stop, or you can just like make it a bare minimum. Like you don't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
dairy
yeah.
products often, whatever, and that's a good
Yeah.
way. Because when you have a cold or whatever that
Yeah.
gives you mucus, they tell you not to eat ice cream and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That's such a good point.
yeah.
Breaking news. Wait, where
Mental health. You Americans kill me. You really
I had
do.
to get that warning. You even say breaking
You-
news hurricane.
I wish I could
You got
hear
a
you.
truth.
that did
you
make me
Americans
nervous for a
kill me.
second.
Mental health month. Are you out of your
Yeah.
mind? You wealthy first world Americans are obsessed with wanting to feel oppressed. Mental health.
You
Stop.
are obsessed
Wait,
with
You
wanting
guys
negative attention.
Chaotic.
Wait a minute.
Go find a
Hold
bottle
on.
to suck
Chaotic.
on.
Chaotic. Hold
He
on.
missed
Time
my
out.
show. He missed
Chaotic.
everything that I said
Chaotic. Time
earlier.
out. Time out. Hold on. You mentioned mental health, but your party like you to as an excuse to not to deal with the big elephant in the room with the gun control. So don't attack
Oh.
the premises right
The
now.
guns don't shoot
I'm going-
themselves, sir.
See?
Guns
Well-
don't have legs, okay?
See, Black David, we're not gonna have anyone come to my show. We have to be careful with these buzzwords. But that's a very interesting
You
conversation.
didn't see the warning? Breaking
I just
news.
got
Hurricane
cut off.
Carter took
I know. That's funny though. Hey, Chaotic though, you probably missed everything that I said earlier.
I did. I just happened to
I know
see
you're
it.
totally.
I saw
Yeah,
the
you're
mental
fine.
health, and I had to come over here. Am I in the ballpark? Are you guys talking about mental health right now?
I'm talking about mental health, but what I will say is I'm talking about mental health like someone would talk about going to the gym. That's what mental
Okay.
health is.
Okay.
He's not
I'm
gonna
not talking about
understand
mental illness.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Okay.
mental health.
Okay. I'm in
Yeah.
the ballpark then. I'm in the ballpark.
You know what? No,
Okay.
the only person that's oppressing us is our own ego.
Yeah.
In terms of like you're extreme right now. Like I'm not even talking about like anything external. We're just talking about
all I can
what
say is
we do
this.
to ourselves. Yeah.
Listen, run, eat fruits and vegetables, and drink
Yeah.
water. That's it. Mental health. Stop.
Well,
No,
exercise is incredibly beneficial
It
for
is.
your mental health.
and I
Yes,
will
it's
say
better
that
than
for
antidepressants. But yeah, go
when
ahead.
when speak on that at the gym rat, I normally do that for the kids. I'm going through some stress issue. Like normally when something stresses me out, I don't show it, but I feel this
Hmm.
tension on the behind my neck and my spine. So what I normally do, I lift heavy weight. So
Yeah,
the ranges
that's
from
good.
heavyweight is between 145 to almost 300 pounds. Some of the workout machine, it helped me to ease off the tension off my spine. So I need that
Yeah,
extra pull or push so it just to unravel everything. Like
yeah,
Trey, another perfect example. You say his therapy is lifting weight,
Can I
exercising.
yeah.
can I say something to Simon too, real quick?
Oh gosh, this definitely took a turn.
Whoa,
Go ahead.
whoa.
Simon.
No fight here,
No,
please.
no, no. Of course not. Simon, you probably don't remember, but you said something really derogatory the last time we spoke. But you know what, though, Simon? I'm gonna say this to you. You should be thanking me, sir. If it wasn't for my American ass, you'd be speaking
Oh
German right now and saluting the
no!
flag.
Wait,
So
you just said
you better be
Americans.
careful of what you say to any American, sir.
Why are you
You're
trying to
lucky,
bring
sir,
this
because
shit
now
over
Putin is
here?
knocking on your door. So
This
be
ain't the channel
careful.
for the bullshit.
Be careful.
Please.
Yo, Kara,
I'm here on behalf of
Be
black.
careful,
like
sir.
for real, like you
This ain't
don't
the
really
this ain't the
understand
time or place
anything.
for the bullshit.
Be
My
careful.
brothers,
You
my
don't really
brothers,
understand anything,
on
and that's
behalf of black men
You
on
don't remember
protest,
because you're
my,
drunk all the time.
not
don't let me put you guys down. Don't let me put you guys down. I will put
uninterrupted.
you
Can I
guys down.
respond, please? Chaotic, you claim to be the like one of the most intelligent guys on these platforms, okay?
Be careful.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that from
Careful.
a certain. I appreciate that from a certain stance. When you start calling people's names out, you really need to do some research and some back check because you ain't got nothing on me. Right?
Don't,
I will check you
sir.
all day long.
I will
Sir.
put you guys down.
Hold
I
on
will
a
put you
second.
guys
Sir.
down.
Hold it for a
Five,
second.
Sir,
Hold it for a second.
Four,
Just hold your mouth. You
sir.
should be like black people.
Three,
Hold your mouth.
don't
Oh.
piss on your blessings,
Two.
sir.
I'm sorry, but I refuse to allow this to happen on the show. We come here to talk about mental health. Let it be about mental
Well,
health.
yeah,
But do not use this
as
platform to
yeah, unless
bring
Chaotic's gonna bring his
inter-platform beef
viewers here.
because I'm not feeling comfortable. I thought you guys
Right.
were here for that.
Hey,
I will
Well,
let you back.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
listen,
Hey,
can y'all hear me? Hey, y'all. Hey,
Yeah.
listen. So I think this is a great opportunity
Mhm.
for Coach K to put her coaching to work and moderate a conversation between two foes to show people how we can
Okay.
bring it back. And I think
Okay.
that so I think that these two guys have a conversation to be had.
That
And
actually
you
would
and
be interesting.
yes, so guys, you can moderate the conversation and let those guys hash out their differences and let Coach K do her thing. Okay, Coach K, you got it.
Understood.
Yeah, yeah. As long as they're
So
both
chaotic,
work
Simon, you gotta be
Chaotic and
back in 5
Simon.
seconds.
Beautifully animated, you got me. She's the bodyguard. Okay, all
She
right.
got the knives. That's fine.
So
And I
let those guys cook with each other. If they don't start talking, if they start talking about each other mamas, then y'all can interrupt them. Okay.
Okay,
Hey,
real
so
quick.
Bab,
So
I'll go in the background. You give me
okay,
the signal and I'll take them
yeah.
down. All right?
Okay, yeah. So Chaotic and Simon, before we even do anything, are you guys interested in Chaotic? Are you guys interested in figuring this out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so like in a couple sentences, no long thing. Chaotic, what are your issues? And then Simon, what are your issues? And then we will pause there. Like 2 sentences, please.
Okay.
Or if we can handle that. I'm going to take notes
So,
because I got in trouble when I
Okay.
didn't take notes one
may I go
time.
first?
Yeah,
Coach
go
K?
ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Simon said that I was in my mother's basement, and then something happened with the connection, and I haven't seen him since. And I said when I saw him, I was going to remind him, don't piss on your blessings, sir, because you're going to be needing us Americans when Putin comes knocking at your door, sir. That's all I wanted to say. Go ahead, Simon.
Okay, and then Simon, what is your issue with chaotic?
I just think his whole stance is Fugazi, and
Is
he
what?
needs to have Fugazi.
Who got? Okay, I don't know what that is, but
He needs to have
Okay.
some more substance to what he's talking about. That's all.
sorry, I'm like looking up.
Okay.
All I'm coming up with is a band, a punk rock,
Coach K, let
hardcore.
bygones be bygones. That's
band.
it. I don't have a problem with Simon, but hey,
Oh,
that's
effed
cool.
up.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, well, what I think is interesting though, chaotic, if you can, be serious here, and this might be good for everyone to see is Simon, how you feel about chaotic substance or his stances, Fugazi or whatever. Now,
I don't know what Fugazi means, though.
I looked it up and I found
It
on
means
like
fake,
urban,
man.
it means like fucked up or something. I
It's
saw that
fake
on
in
Wiktionary.
Italian. It's fake in Italian.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I looked it up real quick and it just
Alright,
gave me
cool.
like the quickest thing.
You-
But
you-
anyway,
you-
and I'm not trying to change anyone's mind here. But Simon, have you ever felt like really worked up or anything when you talked on chaotics or like watching chaotics like stuff?
No, me and Chaotic came from we come from the same background, so like we're both come from an educational standpoint, and we've seen
Okay.
certain things, so we talk the truth, and that's just all it is. It's not a battle. Me onlookers will see it differently. Like
Yeah.
he's been in the school
Perception.
system, I've been in the school system. Like
Yeah.
we see what black people are looking like right now. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we agree on every point. You get what I'm saying?
For sure. For sure. So where does the issue come in then? Because all that sounds fine.
Are you being mediator right now?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
neutral.
No, I'm being neutral. Like, because really, this is neutral. If we were to extract all of this out, chaotic believes XYZ. Simon believes XYZ. There really is no issue until we believe there is. So that's where I'm trying to like pull out what's the issue, and I'm not saying that like in a condescending way. I'm trying to kind of get to like the root of what's going on here.
Yeah, you'd need to understand what's going on in the streets. Like, so unless like you've had some sort of experience in the streets, you're not going to
Ooh,
understand.
no, this is great. This is great because this is perfect, Simon. Because I don't have to experience or be in your body. Now, I'm not going to talk on Black experience. I'm not going to talk on that. But I'm talking in general. Let's say I'm helping a woman who's like in fights with her boyfriend. She's like, you don't see what I see in my house. I don't have to be in your house to look at what you're telling me and how you're looking at this in a way that's optional.
No, it's
Does
not.
that make sense?
No, it doesn't
Okay.
make any sort of sense. Like, I'll
Okay.
tell you what. Being in the educational like institutions, what we have is we have a lot of people that claim to have degrees. We have a lot of people that claim to come in and acquire this sort of status where they can pull up a certificate and go, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. But you walk into those schools and stuff, and you don't know what them children are looking like. You don't
Sure.
know what projects they're coming from. You don't know where they're coming. Where their mothers
Yeah.
are coming from. Anything. You've just got an objective based on the fact that you have this certificate that you can put on your wall and go back to mommy and daddy who have funded this shit and go, yeah, this is all good. Like at the end of the day, it's not all good. And our black brothers
Mm-hmm.
do not appreciate that sort of stuff. You will hold their hand in most situations because you're most applicable to the job. You can walk into a job interview, you're very good at it, look the part,
Mhm.
but nah, not relative. What happens is you hold their hand until they do the next crime. That's what's going to happen.
So you're talking about chaotic and how he in like the education system and how he views helping the kids there. Is that what you're saying? Or are you talking about whose education are you talking about?
Talk about your education.
Well, first of all, and I never bring in me anyway, and I'm not even like considering this a coaching session, but mommy and daddy didn't pay for any of that. I paid for it.
You're lying.
All of it.
Right now. You're lying.
Oh, we're not doing that shit. We're not doing.
Well,
the
this is still
bullshit.
interesting. Wait. This is interesting. No, this is fine. But
Are you telling me that you're not lying? For real? Like, come on.
so this is the
Why don't you
perception
watch
thing,
the
though.
shows and see
Yeah.
Coach K and what she talks about before you come talk about what she's saying is bullshit. How
So
about that?
this is yeah.
Hold on,
Well,
let me say something
Oh,
clear.
fat girl.
Hold on.
You trying to tell me
Time out.
that
Time out.
daddy didn't pay for your education?
Time out.
Are you really
He
trying to tell me
paid-
that?
no, it's
Time
okay,
out.
I can
CBN.
say
I
I'm
got
not
it.
going to
It's
repeat
okay.
myself.
Big
It's
girl
okay.
over
But
here.
Simon, wait. Let's say I can tell you the truth, but let's say that he did pay for it. Now what?
Yeah, you're privileged, which makes it a bit different. So you don't understand what's going on. So you become
What if you're
that
wrong?
person. No, it's nothing wrong. What happens is you
No, I
become
said
that
what if you're
person.
wrong?
Yeah, I'm answering your question. So what becomes is
Hmm.
you enter into a society that
Mhm.
has a different sort of meaning and understanding that you can comprehend, right? So you're going to hold the hand.
Everyone has different
You-
meaning and understanding for sure.
You're going
Me
to
and
hold the
Beautiful
hand.
Animated have different understanding.
You're going
Me
to
and my
hold the
twin
hand.
sister have a different understanding. Go ahead.
You're going to hold the hand of the black little boy in the projects and try to make him understand your privileged lifestyle when he can never understand that. You're going to try and say it's okay.
I actually
Everything's
don't.
fine.
That's not what I do, but it's interesting though how you're still free to believe whatever you want, and that's going to create how you're feeling right now towards me, which you can do, but you're wrong though, and that's okay because it doesn't affect me either way. And I do feel
It
privileged,
does
and you know
affect
what?
you
The
either
word
way. It does. You're feeling it right now, just in the way you're talking. You're feeling it right now. Why are you even in the spaces, Kay? You're not
Mm,
white. Or are
I'm
you?
what?
Are you
Not
not
white?
white? Are you? What's going on?
What do you mean I'm not white?
Are you not white?
Sure.
Right?
Sure. What is
Why are you amongst black men talking about
you if you
black men
want, you
talking
can
when
ask
you're white?
well, and we're only gonna keep you can stay you're free to stay up here, Simon, if you want.
No, it's just
But thanks.
I'm not being bad. Like I'm trying to be civil. That's
If
a
you
No,
want,
you're
you
being
can
an ass.
ask
You're being an
you
ass.
can
Keep
you can
going.
ask Black Man
I'm
Unfiltered if
asking,
you
like,
want
a
why
decent
he
question. I'm not being bad. Like really.
you know
I'm
a
really
Black
not.
man is the
Like, for
one
real,
that that brought me in, right? To be on his channel and his network. I've been here
Who
for
done
almost
what?
I think over a year now.
Who done what?
Black Men Unfiltered is the one who allows me and gave me and Dr. Nakumbi a show. I've been
Okay.
on his network for over a year now.
I came through and I
Oh, hey,
supported
Black Man Unfiltered. You want to tell
and I like it.
Simon?
I'm not saying
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Simon. Hold on a second. So, hey, listen, man. I'm gonna say it like this. Now, I wanted you guys to have a civil conversation, but you crossing the goddamn line, bro. And listen. I don't want to get loose, but I can. Coach K is an intricate part of what we're trying to do here. She's a coach. She works with Dr. Nakumbe and me. She's been rocking with me for a long time, bro. And you're not going to disrespect her on this live. Now, she's trying to help you and what you and Chaotic got going on. Well, bro, if you can't respect the host of the show, you got to go, bro. So whatever issues you got with Chaotic, you work that shit out. But Coach K, she's not going to be disrespected, or anybody else on the that's on the panel is going to be disrespected. Period. So if you're going to talk about, you're going to work things out with Chaotic, work it out. But Coach K is off limits.
Thank you, Black Man Unfiltered.
Absolutely.
I just
Hey, Black David, I'm finna walk into the store, Black David. So you in control, man. If he get loose like that again, just get rid of him.
Yo, Black man, don't you feel-
Understood.
I'm just saying, don't you think like they are valid questions?
well,
and I'll
let me.
say
Can I
this-
tell you this? Go ahead. Sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
say
And
this.
I'll.
The reason why I'm saying this is because we've had this problem with Lapeef.
With
Uh,
who? Well,
Lapeef.
actually, but this isn't
This
Lapeef
not
though.
La-
This is
isn't Lapeef.
this is
I'm
Black
just
Man
saying.
Unfiltered. hmm
Hold
I'm
on,
just saying,
hold on. Time out. Come on,
saying,
Simon.
we're on a
Pardon
different
me.
platform.
Simon, pardon me. As an African who's looking from Nigeria, let's not compare this platform with the Lapeef network, because we have talked to black men not to go down that same direction they were to. This is something more positive for a particular reason. And I chose to support this network using my time and effort to help produce this show. We're not trying to be like just Dusty's thing, or what we're nickname to give her. We're trying to be more positive and more respectful to people who come on this platform and the other as well as the guests.
All right, okay, cool. I'm a pull back.
So
Okay.
I appreciate it. You know what I mean, so we're not
But-
doing anything shady. I'll be here almost every Thursday on this particular
Yes,
network.
volunteering his time, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah. The thing is there's things that go on within the black community that certain people are not aware of. So that's why I did that. It wasn't.
Well,
it wasn't
yeah, no,
a
and
blast.
Well, and I don't think it's at me. I think it's what it could have been anyone that has this complexion, right? And I think that's fair. And that's why I don't, well, first of all, I don't take things personally anyway, because again, everything I talked about at the beginning of the show, like I apply, I try to manage, and I know it's not you personally, or you attacking me personally. But
not because you're beautiful.
well, I
and think,
appreciate
like,
you.
But the thing of the matter is just people don't really
Well-
understand this stuff. So sometimes
Well-
like the message when we're sort of broadcasting stuff is like
Yeah, and that's the thing. From the get-go, I've been on so many shows, and I don't ever speak on things like best way to say it, I know my place. Like I would never. And Chaotic, of course, chaotic, he is his own, okay? But I am very respectful, and I'm also aware. Like I'm not where you've seen other people across YouTube say things that they need to read the freaking room. I don't do that. And also too, I talk about topics that actually I guess people aren't aware of that affect the freaking white community too. White people are like this many white people are like high and mighty. Like the freaking they are not doing well either. So it's like I relate to these topics, and that's why I'm here, because I'm passionate about them, and I'm passionate about mental health and cognitive management, basically managing your thoughts and your emotions. And that's what I do. And my co-host, usually, I don't know if this is the first time you've been here, Simon, is my co-host is a black man, and I freaking love Dr. Nakambi. Usually he's here, but he had another thing going on that was running late. Who I let him run this damn show. But what I think is interesting is how, by my complexion, though, you can be so wrong about someone. But what does it matter? Like, if, again, the vast majority of white people are not high and mighty and shit or whatever. And like I told you, I paid for those. My mom wasn't even around. What else do you need to know? If you want me to bump down my privilege status, but I feel privileged because my dad did all that he did. I actually used to love the word privilege until it now it's like you're white, so you're privileged. But I do feel privileged because my dad did so much for me and my sisters that I do feel privileged that he sent us to private school on his own, working blue collar job. That's privilege to me. And he did that. So
My look, my
you can believe
daughter,
whatever you want,
my
but yeah.
first daughter, her mother is
I've heard,
Italian.
I've heard your story though before.
Yeah, so I don't have
Yeah.
anything against white people.
But it sounds like you do, which is okay. But it sounds like you do because the first thing you said was mommy and daddy paid for the things on the wall.
Coach K, I'll be back. Okay, I got to take care of something. Okay.
Do
Yep.
whatever you got to do, chaotic. I appreciate you nonetheless. But how does that affect you, or like just your day to day, or when you interact with people or whatever? Like, what conversation? Wait, listen. But what conversation could we have had? You know, whether it's talking about your story, which is, you know, there's been a lot there too, and I respect you because that's a shitty situation. But what conversation could we have had?
It's not.
Well,
It's a
not
privilege.
shitty now. There's been. Have you not gone through things, Simon? As
No, I'm
like,
cool.
okay, regardless, that's fine. But I'm saying, what conversation could we have had if you weren't judging? Like, we all judge, but judging me based on my
Well,
wall.
I think that's the problem. I think like people judge. I don't judge people. Like, so when like
You
I
judged
come into a
me.
conversation- I didn't judge you. I spoke facts. It's facts. It wasn't a
What?
judgment. And
What's
I-
wait?
nothing
What's a
against
fact?
you.
What was facts?
It's not a fact because guess what? I'm paying those student loans and I paid for that, my certification. It's all
That
in
was
my
your
name. So that's
opinion.
not a
You
fact.
do
That
know
was your
what an
perception.
opinion is, right?
A perception is that you have to like pay back student loans. That's not a fact.
That's a fact, but my mom and dad paying for that is not the fact here.
No, but what I said is you're privileged in that sort of sense. Whereas like you can go
That
back.
that is a privilege that I got to get a very good education in America. Yeah.
Mhm.
Of course. I think
Yeah, so
that I have a
you're
working heart. That's a privilege.
No, but you're the ultimate pretty fancy face, basically. Like, and you have like parents.
You
that
can thank my mom and dad for that one because I
Sorry?
didn't do any part in this. Okay.
No,
Well, I
you
would
did.
also thank
You did.
God also too. I'm created in His image, but I didn't do anything
No,
this, and I'm
you're
28.
beautiful.
What else
There's
do you want me
nothing
to do?
wrong. There's nothing wrong
Wait,
with
but
that.
you said I'm privileged though, so
Yeah, but you are, and why can't you just say you are? You know, because I'm privileged, and I will turn around and tell you I am. You get what I'm
But
saying?
what does that have to
What
do with what we were
happened?
talking about today?
There a
Have a
discrepancy?
different
Why is there a
perception
discrepancy?
of what privilege is. So, what is your definition of privilege?
Who are you speaking to?
You, Simon?
Okay, cool. Right, so privileged is like if you've been introduced to generational wealth.
That's funny too because I don't experience that. But go on.
So
Okay, so
for
she's
me,
giving
that's
you
what
her
privilege
facts,
is.
her truth, her facts.
Yeah, and I'm
So
just listening
why
to
are we getting
you.
pushback for it?
You're putting statistics on me, which a lot of people wrongfully do to Black people, but you're doing that to me,
Listen,
and
lady,
it doesn't apply.
you're going down a really tricky road right now. You can't say
Am I
things.
though? Because that's what you're doing.
Okay, so you're not privileged. Are you trying to tell me that? I've dated ladies like you, so I know where you come from, where many people might not. Okay, so I don't want to get tricky with you.
Well,
I know where you're
this
coming
is
from.
this is a great example though, because I said earlier too, when we're talking about awareness and questioning our thoughts and how we perceive things, we get to decide because then it's going to affect how we feel and what we do. So
That's
if
a good
I see someone and they look really angry, well, I could think that, wow, they're just an asshole. Or I could think maybe their stomach hurts, or maybe they just received a phone call that their parent is freaking sick. I don't know. I have options there. So I'm always going to pick one that's
You have
going to
options.
serve me
Listen,
most.
You have options.
In terms
Most
of
Black women
how
don't.
No, wait, you're not listening though, Simon. I
I
said
am. Listen clearly. So
No,
I'm
So
you're
are
gonna
you
not,
telling me
because she is
You chop me
giving
off.
you whatever she says to you, you rebuke it. So you want to be stuck on stupid.
Right. And you're bringing it back to
Because
race and things like
ignorance
that. And
can
I'm just
be
talking about mental health. Like I'm
ignorance
talking about
can be
Yes, this all
Yeah.
ties into it.
ignorance can be fixed with knowledge and education. So when you rebuke information that's given to you, you're being stupid. And stupidity is a choice.
So why is stupidity a choice?
Because you choose to rebuke the information that she is giving you about herself.
right. And just
She
how
is
the brain
not
works
like
anyway.
any woman you have dated. She is an individual. So
Yeah.
the only
Like
thing you're telling me is she looks like the woman you dated.
Okay.
right.
Let me
But
speak. Let me speak for a while.
yeah,
hold
go
on,
ahead, and then
because
we're gonna have to wrap up soon,
I
unfortunately. But
try to be patient. Hear what I just don't understand. When people come on these panels and want to project image on somebody else that they don't have no clear understanding of that individual, never took the time out to get to know the person. That is very, very disrespectful. And the reason why I'm saying that, because earlier, if you paid attention, I mentioned why I don't want to go back to the office because, for one, for a guy like me who worked in IT for 22 years and counting, I've dealt with people who project things about me
yeah,
on the
for
corporate setting. It got to a point whereby it became one of those unnecessary trigger. Well, I enjoy proving people wrong and make them look like a complete mockery among their peers. And I've done it on many levels, whereby there were co-workers, people under me, as well as executive and project managers. And I've done it in a very classy way, whereby their own peers had to look down on them or make a mockery of them for the simple fact they misjudge me. And I learned when people do such a thing, two things that come to my radar: low self-esteem, or the trauma they haven't got the chance to deal with. I had to understand people beforehand because I had one in particular. I almost roasted him to the point he almost quit his job while working in NTA. And we didn't bring this one up here, Simon. I know you're from the African diaspora, but one thing you need to understand: you can't project things about somebody if you have no clear information about that individual. That is something that I hate beyond level of passion. I've been given many nicknames on the street out here for a specific reason, and no specific reason is based on what I know. What I don't appreciate coming on this platform, unless you have checked the last couple of episodes
right.
for breaking the cycle, Dr. Mikombe and Coach K were put together for this particular show to address mental health issues that many people try not to address or get therapy on, because I said it earlier in the show. Mental health is almost like a taboo among the Black community, which includes the African Americans, the African Caribbeans, the Afro Latina, as well as African within the diaspora. Either it's on a cultural basis or a spiritual basis. And this is why we have this show only for the specific reason to get level of understanding from licensed professional and medical professionals. Coach K is a licensed professional. Dr. McCumber is not only is a licensed professional, he's a medical professional in that profession. And when we hold these shows, we hope that people bring their questions onto this platform so they can get answers or some tips on how to recognize some of these things so they know how to address it properly. And when you come on this platform after chaotic truth without to know who he is, you almost start a beef on this platform. I find it disrespectful for the fact that I've been helping producing these shows for more than a month now.
Okay,
And
Yeah,
I
you
find
visit
it.
us every Thursday.
Let me speak. Let me finish. I kept
You're
quiet long. No, I get it, but let me speak. Let
Stop.
me speak. I'm trying to be respectful. Let me speak. And when
You don't
people
need
come
to
on
be
this platform, I did allow you to speak if you know that I was mute for.
No, but you're being rude. And the
I'm
fact
not being rude. I'm not being rude.
Don't
It's
even try
like
that one.
realistically,
Don't even try
I am
that
not
one.
Wait, hang on.
being
Let's
rude.
CBN. Let's let Black David finish his sentence, and then Simon, you can go
All right,
after
thank you
that.
very much.
What
Let
I'm
Black
trying
David
to
go.
say is this. The reason why I'm passionate about this particular show is because you have a strong positivity behind it about one do something great within the community. What I don't like is projecting of something that is not true. When people give you information, take it at face value. But don't go too far to the point whereby even the people in the audience in the chat and black men even call me to the point whereby it seems like you're being disrespectful. I'm coming to you as an individual, as a man, to tell you, please, based on the topic, say ego versus low brain practical solution, we're trying to talk about issues that people don't want to address. Key number one issue is self-reflection. Maybe because it may uncover hidden trauma, certain things they don't want to address. We have these conversations to address these issues in multiple levels. Unless you want to be part of the conversation, it would be great because you're the educator. Everyone who works in the educational system have a deep level of experience that I like to be shared on this platform as well, but not in the way of negativity. I'm not going to disrespect you, sir. What I ask is please be mindful, be respectful. I understand where you're coming from. But you need to
Okay, so
understand what we're doing here is something greater than me, than her, and everybody else. You understand that, please, sir?
I appreciate that, Black David. Seriously. All right, Simon. So we don't have much time left, but what's your thought right now?
Thank you, Miss. I appreciate you. People should not tell people how to act.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah, for sure.
That's all. You get what I'm saying? It's like, yo, David, I love you, but I'm just saying, you're not going to get anywhere by telling people how to act. That's just wrong. Like, I have no diss against you or whatnot. You know, this is a platform. We're up here. Everyone learns in a different type of way. And I do what I do for a reason because I have experience in what I do. I understand the audience will see things in different ways. If you want to turn around and have a one-dimensional way of speaking about things and a narrative, you're going to end up like Anton. Try
I
that.
think
Build
I
your
think it's
platform
go ahead.
for years and see what happens. Okay, I told him what was going to happen. So be in your ego. We always talk about women being this or that and the other. And the fact of the matter is listen, women are more intelligent than men right now. And they're more smarter than men right now. And they're moving in a more dynamic way than men are right now. And it's a, you know, men see it as a problem. It's like, oh yeah. It's like you ain't been married. You don't have kids. You don't know how to move. And even if you're in a marriage, you're struggling. That's why you're on YouTube, bro. Don't even get at me like that. Why are you on YouTube?
Well,
Listen, I'll break these guys down in like segments and put them on a table and flip them over like dominoes because they're so into their feelings. It's crazy.
what if
They
you're
think
wrong,
that women's
Simon? We don't have
emotional.
much time left. But what if
Yeah,
you're wrong about these people?
Yeah, we'll see. It'll play out.
Well, you were already wrong about me.
And
No, I
me.
ain't talking about you. You just got into your emotions and I was
I'm a father and a
like,
grandfather.
I love you, Kay.
I am
I
married.
love
I
you.
did not get in my emotions. That was
You see, I've
perfectly
been on the
fine.
other, yeah. Like, I check you. I've been on the other things and stuff. You
Oh
see
yeah,
that?
I frequent, but
So I ain't got nothing against you. I got you know, I ain't got a thing against anybody.
I think
I just
your
subject.
description is accurate of some people on YouTube. I think you can find them for sure, and there's probably ones that I could think of right on the spot of what you just described. However, at least here we're not like that, and we try, and especially on Thursday nights. I mean, of course, we have our entertainment. Black Man Unfiltered is just something else, but um tonight on Thursdays we don't do the gender war shit. We talk about mental health in terms and mental illness as far as Dr. Nakambi, he's the clinical professional, but we talk about how it affects every dynamic of the population of just humanity. Now, of course, if he'll talk on Black people, the Black community or whatever, or even men, I'm not going to talk on men, but in just what his expertise is in. But we actually talk about constructive stuff on this network and things that people can take away and utilize right now. Because if we keep having these conversations and not talking about solutions, or even the why behind the reasons they're doing what they're doing, things are just going to stay the same. And that's pretty much what we do on Thursday nights.
And I will ask you, please check on the last couple of episodes that we did.
It's
And the reason why I'm saying it because we have people who came on this platform, including Sir Health and many others, who came from their own walk of life and
Sarah,
their experience.
Yo,
I'm not here with for ego. I'm trying to get a level of understanding. This is why I sometimes ask questions because there's something that do stand out during the conversation. I will ask specific questions so I can get a level of clarity of why this happened. It's why I was telling Black men to create a playlist for all the past episodes that we done on Thursday. So that when people look at some of the videos, I ask them, please, if there's any question that we need to address for the next episode, we find these questions, we can go back and say, based on this episode.
Yeah.
But definitely check out the past episodes, come back next week if you'd like, because honestly, we don't get a lot of views, especially live viewers, but this is the best, most informative show I think people can watch.
Yeah,
but
it
they don't.
definitely has a higher replay views.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah. All these shows get higher on the
Did you
replay.
actually just invite me to come back? Are you real?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, of course. I want every single person. Yeah, I mean,
We want the real question to be asked because we're not trying to dance around.
Yeah.
I said it earlier in the show. Mental health is a big issue within the Black community people don't want to address. And I find it weird when multiple platforms people talk about mental health, but never have a licensed practitioner in that field discussing about it there or trying to break it down. But
I
the fact that we
appreciate
have to.
you off the panel. Because you could have done.
Well, I'm trying to be respectful. I don't have no.
He's
ego.
the one that has
And
the
the
controls. I don't have any.
And the person you mentioned, I get it. I predicted that as well, but then I don't like the past thing.
David, talk to me on LinkedIn. You know you can find me.
No, I talk to. I'm a real person. I'm not gonna be shady. I'm not gonna be fake along here. But I see what people do on the platform. What's funny about it, people didn't notice. I worked on the first social media platform called CollegeClub.com. That's not new. So I understand how this system works. What's shocking, people don't realize, as much you make a fool of yourself on the platform a little bit too much, those data are being used by the huge corporation as tools of developing things that you don't know will come down the pipeline. That's why I tell people multiple times, be careful how you conduct yourself on the platform. You never know that you're as an example or as a teaching tool what to expect. I come here hoping that we can do something positive. That is me.
Yeah,
I'm not here for the ego parade, whatever. I like to learn things new because she's a licensed profession, this profession. I like to get more.
People are different, man. So what you may see as an egotistical point, I've lived a life, okay, which you have not. So I've been allowed to do certain types of things which you have not. I've been around certain things that you have not. And I do continue to have things and be around things that you have not and will never ever be susceptible to. So you may view it in a certain type of way where it's like, that's a problem. For me, I'm like, it don't make no difference unless, because I'm tapping into you. You're not tapping into me. I don't see it like that. I'm a 10%. I could do what the fuck I want. and I don't care. I could get on platforms if I want. There's no reason for me to be here. And I keep stressing this.
I get
I've
it.
been like this since I was 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, I was earning £150,000 when people now are talking about it and they're in their 50s and 40s and whatnot and talking about, oh, yo, high value man, all this nonsense. It's like, that ain't nothing to me.
I get it.
I tune in because I want to tune in, and I tune in because people are logical and knowledgeable. And they can offer me something that I don't have in my life that exists. And that's why I tune into you, Black David, and you know that. And that's why.
And I completely respect that. That's why we invited you to come back
Yeah,
next
I'm
week.
saying. So I don't care about all this other stuff. But you know,
Yeah.
when a platform comes across and like people about, I'm sorry if I come across a bit funny.
It's understandable.
I just bounce in sometimes. It's like late at night. I'm awake. It's in my algorithm. I like, subscribe, like anybody will. Do you get what I'm saying? It's no harm to no one. It's not personal, nothing like that. And especially with you, I have real respect for you because you know you're from New York.
I'm
You know,
humble about it. I
you've done the
appreciate
journey.
it.
You know what I'm saying? I know who you are. So it's like I ain't even doing that at all. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the sisters on the platform, Coach K. Look, if you felt any offense, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I have a mouth because
What? How would you answer that? By
I'm
the way,
trying to understand because it's like we always have this conversation about, you know, women running towards a 10%. And
Yeah.
I'm that guy. So it's like I don't
Yeah.
get it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like
It could be a mental health issue that many people overlook because this is something I was talking about, self-reflection.
maybe, but it's
Many
just
people don't do
Self-reflection,
that.
maybe it's not from I don't know, like a lot of the women that run towards me have mental health issues. That's what I find out.
Mhm. That's
Consequently,
interesting.
like my
If you,
ex-wife.
if you know that, I'm glad you said that. You know that the question I gave her. Why do
At
people
the
treat
beginning, yeah.
self-reflection as if something negative, as if it's going to uncover a trauma they don't want to address?
I
I'm
think
trying to find out if it's something clinical or it's something else that we don't know yet. Because
And
I'm
yeah,
trying to
just
work
like you, I
out.
pay attention to a lot of these
Work
conversations.
out.
I keep
what would
asking
you
the same
say,
questions.
Simon?
I'm trying to work it out because it kills me.
But this look on your face though, this might sound like weird, but I like it though because I can tell there's something there though that you're like I've seen it on my clients' faces. It's like there's something there you're trying to uncover, and that's what is so great about questions, but
Yo,
the self-reflection, and that's what.
my ex-wife right now is in an institution
Mm-hmm.
after 10 years of like us working together.
Right.
How did she end up there? Because she left. Because she chose to run. Now I don't care what I feel. I'm just like I don't want to hear that. I don't want our daughter on the phone speaking where you know what it's like to be in an institution. Like she
I
can
can
only
understand.
call when she can call. She's calling up at random times. I can hear the alarm in the background. Whoop,
Mhm.
whoop, whoop.
I can relate.
She
My father was
sounds,
in one.
oh, someone's trying to get the phone after me. I've only got this time. Like
Right.
prison.
Yeah.
I can
Hey,
fully understand
hold
that.
that thought. Can we do final thoughts? But can we do this on the back? Is that okay? If
That is
Simon wants
fine.
to
That
continue,
is fine because this is
just so
something that I can
do you
relate to very well.
are you cool with doing that, Simon? If we just stay, you know how to do that, I'm sure. Just he'll end
What, you
it and
want
then we'll
to
stay
hang out in the
back.
back, or do you want?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
back chat.
But he's gonna end the broadcast.
Yeah, no, I'm cool.
Okay. Real quick, I'll just end here. Thank you everyone for tuning in for Thursday's Breaking the Cycle. Dr. Nakambi will be back with me next week. Very excited. I missed everyone last week. And today we just talked about the ego and how basically, if we leave it to its own devices, it's going to run us, and it's going to basically lead us to avoid danger and to seek pleasure. And these days, we don't really need that because we're not hunters and gatherers. We got everything we need. But, definitely give this another listen, especially at the beginning. Talk a little bit about this, gave you some examples. And this is something you can implement literally today and watch your life. Just it'll change everything. And you'll wish someone told you sooner. But
And also, please,
ahead.
everyone who watched it or watched the replay,
Yeah.
please leave your question in the comments.
Yes.
We want to address the question on the next episode so that we're not neglecting you guys. Because this, to me, I take very, very seriously. Okay.
Yeah. And like and share. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Leave some questions, or if you have any ideas or anything you want us to cover, you can always email Black Men Unfiltered. It's in the description. But yeah, you can find me and Dr. Nakumbi too in the description. But thank you guys again for joining us, everyone in the chat. I love you all. Always so much love. You guys are all my favorites. But thanks for being here.
So, Simon, stay behind after the show
Yeah,
is over. We'll continue on.
we'll stay here. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.